Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this MCTV sports production of high school basketball. We are coming to you from the campus and the gymnasium, the brand new gym at Mills High School. It's the Aragon Dons visiting the Mills Vikings. It's a quad game, and this is the third game out of 4. Hello, everyone. I'm Kenny Mills, alongside my broadcast partner, Bill McCarthy. And Bill, this so far for Mills has been a fantastic season. 7-0 on top of the Peninsula South Division.
Yeah, they had a big game earlier this week, putting them in sole possession at first base. So hopefully this isn't going to be one of those letdown games. Aragon doesn't come in with a flashy record, but they're always pretty well coached, and I'm sure they'll be quite competitive.
And of course, that big win was a 6-point victory, 39-33 over Hillsdale. They're getting ready to announce the starting lineups for the home Lady Vikings. So let's join our public address announcer, John Horgan, for the starters.
Number 2, Jamie MARTZ. At guard, a senior, number 13, MADISON. At guard, a senior, number 24, Taylor Cormier. At forward, a freshman, number 23, Aubrey Bussinger. And at forward, a sophomore, number 34, Julia GIBBS.
There's your starting 5, Bill. It's MARTZ, Suey, Bussinger, Cormier, and GIBBS, and that group has produced a 13-7 overall record. They do have one injured player, Stephanie Marr, who has started a few games. She will be out this evening.
Shout out to my dog.
This Vikings group has got it done in the South.
Well, it's a diverse starting lineup that they have, in that they have 3 seniors with a lot of experience, a sophomore who started as a freshman last year, and a freshman.
And of course, that freshman is Aubrey Bussinger, number 23. The sophomore, of course, is Julia GIBBS in the middle. Their sharpshooter is Taylor Cormier. She's one of the captains, one of the 4 captains, Lindsay Huffman, who has started a few games, along with Melissa Yan, Madison Suey, and those are your captains. We're getting set for the jump ball. The referees tonight are Andy Evangelista and Tim Ong. Now, Tim Ong just did the boys frosh soft. It's supposed to be Barry O'Driscoll, but apparently he may have gone to the wrong gym and is in transit over here, so they may switch during the game. We'll see how that goes. So Mills, in their white, wins the tip, moving left to right. And now, actually, the camera's coming across, so they're moving right to left across your TV. That's a little bit confusing as we look out there, but the first shot attempt is by Bussinger. Rebound to MARTZ, but it's a jump ball before she gained possession.
Well, I just want to throw in a comment here. This is the first time I've been in the gym since they redid it, and wow, it does not look anything like the old Mills gym.
Absolutely gorgeous. First class. Madison Suey with the steal in the backcourt. Cormier, 3 ball, no good. Rebound. Jen Horita, there's a freshman. sophomore Gibbs takes it from her, and it's the Vikings on the attack. MARTZ to Sui, one bounce dribble. Nice inside pass to MARTZ. Can't finish. And MARTZ goes over the back. So 49 seconds have been played, no score here.
It was a nice steal by Madison Sui. She's one of the leaders on the team in steals.
I'm sorry about that, Bill, but Barry O'Driscoll has now arrived, the referee, and so they're going to make a change right here. So he was only 49 seconds late. Not bad. Now we're ready to go. In the front court, that's the freshman, Horita. She can't convert. Bussinger with the rebound. MARTZ lets it fly. Back the other way come the Dons in black. Moving left to right on the TV screen, right in front of us, moving right to left. Nonetheless, the three-point attempt goes out of bounds in favor of the Vikings. And head coach Dave Matsu is going to call timeout for Mills, so 32nd. Matsu is in his 7th year as the head man for the Vikings. His career record is 113 victories to 69 defeats. He has 2 PAL Central Division titles, one in 2008 and one in 2009.
Well, they're always a well-coached team, and one of their cornerstones is defense. And his comments after this week's earlier game was that it was his defense that won the game for him.
Held Hillsdale to just 33 points in that contest. It came up with that victory. Both teams were undefeated going in, and that put Mills at 7-0 in sole possession of first of the PAL South, looking for their 3rd title under Matsu. From the corner, that's Cormier. Assist to Madison Sui, and the Vikings are on the board.
And that's been a cornerstone of their offense over the years, is if they have an open 3, they're going to take it.
There's an open 3 for Aragon. It's missed. Tiffany Chan, a junior, shot that for the Dons. Aragon is head coached by Annette Gennaro, and Annette is now in her 22nd year with Aragon, the longest tenured on the girls' side in the PAL since Pam Wimmerly retired. There's MARTZ with the 3. Nice shot. Gennaro for Aragon has won 8 PAL championships in 22 years, 5 of them outright and 3 of them shared. She shared 2 of them with Mills as Reynolds scores to make it 6-2. First bucket for Aragon. Aragon and Gennaro shared 2 titles with Mills, one in 2009 and one in 2005. Off to a rough start as Aragon, they're 1-6 in the South, tied for 8th currently, 3-11 overall. There's Cormier looking inside, but it's too high, intended for Bussinger.
Well, right now, Aragon has obviously done some scouting. Mills' leading scorers are Julia Gibbs and Taylor Cormier and Madison Sui. They're all pretty close, averaging close to 10 points a game. But Julia hasn't even gotten a touch yet in this game.
2-2-1 press showed by the Vikings. Aragon struggling to break it. They get a deflection and the steal by Cormier. Up ahead to Madison Sui with a jump stop. Can't finish. Back the other way comes Aragon. That's Brianna Reynolds, a sophomore. Cross quarter to Horita, a little runner. Rebound to Bussinger. Lady Vikings. 13-7 overall under Matsu. A lot of pump fakes there for Bussinger, but MARTZ ends up with the shot.
Well, if Bussinger on that second pump fake, she looked like she had a lane if she would have taken it to the basket.
Last year, MADISON was 9-3, finished in 3rd place in the PAL South, and went 15-11 overall. Lindsay Huffman into the ball game, replaces Bussinger. There's GIBBS with her first touch. MARTZ left wide open. That may be a strategy of Aragon to try to make MARTZ beat them instead of letting Cormier, their best shooter, get a lot of touches, Bill.
Well, they're certainly leaving some open looks out there. But unless you start knocking them down, it just adds up to a long rebound.
3.5 minutes left to go here in the first quarter on MCTV Sports. Kenny Meltz along with Bill McCarthy. There's a 3-point attempt by Aragon's Alyssa Mangoen. No good, but the rebound, there's a foul on Mills.
That's on Julia GIBBS. Instead of going straight up, she tried to reach in and take the ball away, and she got called for it.
That'll send Reynolds to the mound, to the line.
I thought maybe you'd come up with a new expression for the free throw line.
Yeah, maybe I'll start something new. I'll start a new trend. We'll call the line the mound. Anyways, Reynolds makes her first. That's the first free throw shot of the game. And she's got all 3 of Aragon's points.
Well, she does kind of wind up in her shot there, going around the back like that. So.
And the miss on the second one. The loose ball goes Aragon's way.
Might be a little concern on the Mills sideline. Aubrey Bussinger came out. Looked like she was holding her knee, and I don't see her sitting down on the bench right now. So they might be looking after her.
Loose ball foul. And that goes to Cheng. So here comes Sui. Older sister Brianna Sui graduated last year, one of the top scorers and a first-team all-leaguer in the PAL South. Here's a steal by Horita, and the freshman goes up with the left hand to cut it to 6-5.
Well, dangerous pass anytime you throw over 2 defenders like that, especially throwing to the top of the key. You're just asking for a steal.
Zone defense employed by Aragon. There's GIBBS with a left hand. Boy, she really looks solid. Only a sophomore, Bill.
She's very skilled. She's been playing basketball for a long time, and I know she's been playing at a high level with her AAU team. She's got a good future ahead of her.
These two faced off January 10th at Aragon, and Mills won by 15, 46-31. So you would think they would be big double-digit favorites in this one, now coming home.
Well, like I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Wednesday night's game was probably an emotional one, a close game getting into first place. Sometimes there can be a bit of a letdown, and I'm sure Coach Matsu has warned them of that.
This is the 4th straight home game for Mills, the way the schedule worked out. They've won 3 in a row. Missed shot, rebound to Aragon. Pull-up jumper, no good.
Nice shot, though. Right move to make. She really didn't have much more room to penetrate. Had a nice-looking shot there.
That was Mangoen, senior, number 5, with the green shoes. A new player in for Mills, that's Janelle Lee. Huffman finds Lee in the corner, but it's thrown too close to the sideline, and that's a turnover. Credit that turnover to Huffman. Mills has only played 4 games in their new gym, and they've won all 4, so they're undefeated in their new building. They beat Menlo back on December 2nd. And then those last 3 league games we talked about, Hillsdale, Cappuccino, and Woodside, 3 in a row. There's a turnover by Lee and a steal.
Just trying to create something that really wasn't there on that one. It was about a 1-on-4.
Mangoin with the bucket for the Dons as they cut their deficit to 1. 40 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. That's Suey. Can't get the left-hand runner. Good hustling rebound by Huffman. And the held ball goes to the Vikings. Here comes GIBBS and MARTZ back into the game. Little jitters for the Vikes.
Well, I think part of it may be that Aragon's not playing like a 1-6 team. They're defending real well. They're starting to hit some shots, and you know, anytime you turn the ball over, you're giving up an opportunity to score and giving the other team a chance.
GIBBS with the 17-footer, no good rebound. Cormier, she can't finish off the glass. Here comes Mangoin, the senior.
The way that Mills is shooting, you're saying this is only their fourth game here in this gym. I think they're still getting used to it too.
Nice penetrating left-hand runner there by Tiffany Chen, and give the Dons the lead as the first quarter buzzer sounds. And so a possible upset in the making, although it's still early on, Bill.
Well, if I didn't know which team had which record, I would say Aragon was the team that was undefeated the way they played that first quarter. They got behind a little bit, but the way they've come back, and they're playing a solid defense, they've capitalized on Mills' turnovers, and they find themselves up by 1. If you'd like to purchase a copy of today's game, you can. You just go to mctv.tv, and you'll find our store on the Square Marketplace. In addition to this game, you will see a lot of DVDs available for the many productions of the MCTV Sports. So you enjoy what you're watching and you'd like to support more MCTV coverage of Mills sports, go pick up a DVD. They are only $20 per copy, and the money goes towards making more programming just like this one possible. Earlier tonight in the Frosh Soft girls game, it was the Mills Vikings over Aragon 36-26, improving the Vikings Frosh Soft record to 7-0. So neither girls varsity or Frosh Soft have lost a PAL South game. Quite impressive for the girls program. In the boys Frosh Soft game, Aragon just beat Mills 59-49. The Vikings record now for the boys in the Frosh Soft division 6-2. The Dons Frosh Soft record is 5-3. Second quarter action underway now. The Dons with that offensive rebound, and they turn it over. Steal by Cormier. Nice steal there, good defensive position. And I just noticed Aubrey Bussinger just came back, and I think she may get ready to check into the game. One of the assistant coaches for Mills is Mike Chardella from Sacred Heart Prep. Won a few girls' state titles, or one of them, I think. Nice to have a former head coach of a state champion on your bench for Coach Matsu, huh? Well, I remember those teams. Those were pretty special teams that he had there. Turnover by the Vikings, and a steal for Nicole Miranaga, the junior for Aragon. The Dons with the 9-8 lead, playing footloose and fancy free tonight. Missed there, rebound to Suey. Suey with her first rebound. She also has a steal in the ball game. And that's her three-point attempt, and it's a little bit short. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Mills got off to a good start in the first 3 minutes or so, and since that point, they have been struggling to take care of the basketball. Seven minutes exactly in the second quarter. Aragon with the ball and the 1-point lead. There's the freshman. Reynolds, the sophomore. I know sometimes when you come into a game like this being the underdog, as Aragon would be based on the records, that you can get the team really excited with the possibility of knocking off an undefeated team, team in first place, and sometimes it catches those teams unaware.
And they're young, so they don't really know exactly what they're getting into in terms of experience. They started 2 seniors, but they also start a freshman, a sophomore, and a junior.
And conversely, despite the fact that Julia Gibbs is a sophomore, she played all last year on the varsity. So really they have 4 experienced players. And the way Aubrey Bussinger plays, she doesn't play like a freshman.
Looked like Suey got away with the travel there. She gets it back and makes the layup.
That ends a couple-minute drought for the Vikings.
And they regain the lead. Suey with her first bucket. Cormier's got 3, Gibbs has 2, and MARTZ has 3, and there's a 3-pointer for Aragon, Nicole Miranaga. And the Aragon Dons regain the lead.
I was kind of surprised. Normally Mills puts more pressure on the ball, and she was sitting a little bit off, and that was a wide open 3.
There's MARTZ. She bangs it, assist to Cormier.
And Aragon just went and did the same thing on the other end. Left someone from Mills open for a wide open 3.
So MARTZ, the leading scorer so far, with 6 points for Mills. 3 assists already for Cormier. Nice block shot, but a foul. Charge to Suey.
Well, I can see now, looking at the way Mills is set up for defense, they're actually running a zone, what looks like a 1-3-1, and I think that's one of the reasons that Aragon was able to get off that open 3, is that Cormier had dropped back to protect the middle.
That's Jen Horita, the freshman, at the free throw line. She misses the first. 7 out of their last 8 Mills has won. In league, they beat Sequoia by 16. They beat Aragon by 15. They beat MA by 15. They beat Burlingame by 8. They beat Woodside by 42. And they beat Cap by 15, and then Hillsdale, that 6-point win.
A 42-point win in league.
Yeah, over Woodside, who's really struggling. A lot of the varsity girls quit. They had, apparently what I heard is 7 girls quit from that team, and they had to bring up a bunch from the Frosh soft team, and so they're playing basically with all freshmen and sophomores. Nice left-handed jump hook there by Gibbs.
Well, Woodside, I guess, is having a rough time with both the boys and the girls teams.
Long story with the boys. Maybe if we have time later, we'll get a little bit into it. Kind of a sad story, too. Foul charge to Bussinger, so she's back in the game, as you called. So their one loss sandwiched in between those 7 wins was a non-league game on MLK Day. It was over at City College. I actually was at that game. It was against Hercules and Mills. It was a great game. Mills was down double figures. They came back and got up double figures or close to it, and then they lost it at the end. 58-57 was the final against a good Hercules team. That MLK Day event, there were 30 teams in it, and it was put on by Terra Nova High School and the Somerville brothers.
Well, that was a nice rebound by Aubrey, and then she turned and let it get out of her hands. Aragon regained control.
Huffman back into the game for Bussinger.
Well, it's good to, when they can, to get that kind of experience outside of the league and to see teams from out of the area.
There's Horita, the freshman. Nice interior pass to Reynolds, but she decides to kick it back out. Horita takes it in there. She's not shy. And they call an over the back foul on Christina Rivetta.
There was contact. When he first put his hand up, I thought he was calling it on the Mills player who had inside position. He made the right call there.
So the Vikes have it with 3:45 left to go until intermission, and they own a 3-point lead. There's MARTZ again. MARTZ actually came off the bench in that MLK game against Hercules and played very well. That's where Marr got hurt, and MARTZ has been starting ever since. Jump ball. GIBBS with nice defensive position, and her older brother plays on the boys varsity.
Well, I know with Jamie, she's been working hard year after year, and has continued to improve, and it's good to see she's getting, you know, more action on the court.
5 on the shot clock. Reynolds pulls up with a little
Nice
baseline shot, nicely done, and the Dons are to within 1. There's Horita, and she is rammed into. Boy, that was a lot of contact over on the sideline there. And they call Horita for stepping out of bounds. Didn't quite understand that one.
Well, you know what? She may have stepped out of bounds before the contact happened. She was very close to the sideline over there, because certainly there was contact initiated by Madison Suey.
In the preseason.
And I think that's exactly what the referees have cleared up with the Aragon coach.
Oh, I see, okay. Other than that win against Menlo here at Mills in the Kelly Shea Gallo Classic, actually, now that I look closer at it, Bill, they went 2-1 in their own tournament, so they actually lost 1 game here, and that was to Notre Dame Belmont by 4. So actually 3 more games, so they're actually 6-1 here at the new facility.
Well, if there's such a thing as a good loss, losing to a WCAL team in the preseason is not such a bad thing. Notre Dame Belmont has a very good program.
Back to action, that's Huffman, and that shot is blocked by Christina Garcia-Rivera.
Bad inbounds pass there by Jamie MARTZ.
There's a rebound putback for Allison Orris, another freshman. And the Dons have the lead once again. Suey with the left hand. GIBBS with the putback. GIBBS now has 6 in the ball game. Once again facing that 2-2-1 press employed by Dave Matsu and his Vikings, and dribbling it off her leg was Mangoin, and the referees get together. They're trying to decide whose ball it is. Once again, Andy Evangelista and Barry O'Driscoll, and they're going to give it to Aragon.
And neither one of them seem to have a clear view. And
so maybe that's going to be the makeup call for the sideline illegal block in the back.
Referees don't do those kinds of things, do they, Kenny?
Absolutely not. There's another turnover. That one goes to Reynolds. 3rd turnover for the Dons. Mills has 6. Left-handed shot, and fouled is Janelle Lee, that is. Excuse me. And she'll go to the free throw line.
And it's good to see Janelle back on the basketball court. I know last year she sat out with an injury.
So she missed her first. But made her second, and the Vikes have a 2-point lead. In that Kelly Shea Gallo Classic, Mills beat San Leandro in their opener. Nice play underneath, can't get it to finish. Then they lost in the second round of Notre Dame at Belmont, and then they beat El Camino for third place in their own tournament. That was back in early December. Then they beat Prospect, and then they went to the Pinewood tournament and lost big to Palo Alto by 45 points. Then they lost to Scotts Valley by 38. Very tough tournament. Then they lost to Gunn by 18. Madison Suey with that bucket there for Mills. So that tournament, we're talking about high caliber in the preseason over there.
Well, in Division 5, Pinewood is one of the best. And they have been on the girls' side for many years.
Wow, GIBBS just got away with a push in the back and a 2-point basket there for Marinaga, excuse me.
Well, Mills is definitely getting more of a battle than I think they expected at this point in the game.
Three-pointer for Huffman. You don't see that often. That's a big shot. Matter of fact, we may have to check the stats and see if Huffman has made a 3 this season. Turnover for the Dons. Huffman, okay, checking the stats. She has 1 3-pointer in 13 attempts, so she's now 2 for 14.
She looked good on that one.
And that'll be on TV. So the Vikes have 10 seconds left. They can get the last shot here, up by 5, and all of a sudden salvage a good first half, at least with a nice lead going into the locker room if Cormier can make these free throws. All of a sudden, if she makes them both, you go in up 7, and you're feeling a little bit better about the way this went, which could have been much worse.
Well, they were just up 1 just a minute ago.
Cormier misses the free throw. She's got 3 points and 4 assists, 2 steals, and a rebound. And now she's got another point.
And a free throw to go with it.
There you go, 6 seconds left. And there's a sideline foul, but it's actually not a bad foul because Aragon is not in the bonus.
That could have been a dangerous foul if Mills wasn't under the limit there.
0.6 left, so they've got to catch it and throw it up. And you got to get rid of it much quicker than that. So we've reached halftime here on MCTV Sports from the Vikings' beautiful new gymnasium, and Mills is on top of Aragon 24-18. We'll take a short break. We'll accumulate some statistics for you, and we'll come back with the second half in just a little bit. Getting set to begin the third quarter here from Mills High School. The Vikings lead at 24-18. Some statistics for you. Leading the Vikes in scoring was MARTZ and GIBBS, each with 6, and MARTZ also had 3 rebounds. Cormier and Suey each scored 4 points, and Cormier added 4 assists. Huffman had 3, Suey had 4, Lee had 1 for their total of 24. For Aragon, Reynolds and Marinaga led the way with 5 each, and then 4 players for the Dons scored 2 each. Horita, Mangoin, Oris, and Chen for their total of 18. Rivetta had 4 rebounds, and Oris had 3 rebounds. So the Vikings start off with it. I'm Kenny Milch along with Bill McCarthy, and we're here. And Huffman drives the lane, and it's knocked out of bounds by Aragon.
It looks as though there was at least one personnel change with Huffman starting the second half instead of Bussinger. And interesting that both teams did not come out in time to get any shooting in. So there must have been a lot of talking from both sides. A nice shot there by Jamie MARTZ, hitting another three.
And for MARTZ, that's her third three of the game. She leads all scorers with 9 points.
I think what the Vikings have to do when they have the ball is they got to start looking to go inside a little bit more. They can't rely on that three-pointer.
Try to attack that Aragon zone. And it looks like they may have switched a man here. That's Suey up top. MARTZ to Cormier. Inside, there you go, Bill, to Suey. She goes up and she's fouled. And she'll head to the line.
Madison's a versatile player. She's a ball handler. She plays out on the perimeter most of the time. But last year she played more like a 4 and was in the post a lot. And she's actually the leading offensive rebounder for the Vikings.
She shot a lot of free throws this season. 47 of 97. 48%. And she makes them both. She now has 6 points in the game. We want to thank our statisticians tonight. Julius Adkins and Cameron Kwong doing a bang-up job here for us. Stealing the backcourt off that 2-2-1 press for Mills. Kind of opening things up here. Dangerous time for Aragon. Trailing by 11. Can't let it get away. And there's MARTZ trying another one off left. Huffman with the board. Can't finish. A lot of contact under there. Both players go down.
Well, remember that at one point in the first half, Aragon had the lead. They were up by, I didn't believe, down by 1, and Mills has gone on this run here to put up an 11-point lead.
So Coach Gennaro for Aragon is going to have to make another adjustment. Once again, her 22nd year, foul by Huffman. She's won 8 championships. As a matter of fact, I talked with her before the game, and she said she has a 7th grade daughter named Della who will be up at Aragon in 2 years, and word on the street is she can play a little bit.
Well, that last foul call on Lindsay Huffman, what players don't realize sometimes is there wasn't a whole lot of contact, but she reached her hand in, and the referee is going to call that, especially near the basket. They're going to call that 99% of the time.
Hell ball goes to the Dons. Which likely means that Coach Gennaro is going to be here at least 6 more years at Aragon. She may end up there for 30 years. Their Dons trail by 11. From deep, it's Mangoin. Rebound, put back. Credit that to Orris, the freshman. Keeps Aragon within somewhat of striking distance, trailing by 9.
Well, if her daughter is as good as you said she is, and the young players they have on this team, they might be a team to reckon with in the future.
Cormier looks inside to GIBBS. Swing the ball over to Suey. She penetrates, left hand, nice move. Can't finish. And she's fouled by Ravetta.
She is just like a bulldog in there. She is relentless when it comes to trying to go for those offensive rebounds, and she probably could have pulled out for a medium range shot, but she just took it right back in and picked up the foul. I guess the referees have determined it wasn't on the shot.
Coach Matsu's first year was 2008. They went 22-8. 9-1 in the PAL Central. They won the championship that year. He inherited a good team when he first arrived.
Well, I know he's been in the program for a while. He was, I believe, the Frost soft coach for several years before taking over the varsity position.
Turnover. traveling.
If I recall, he took over from Dan Salvamini.
Yeah, Salvamini was the head coach in 2007, and in that last year, Mills went 25-5, and they were co-champs of the PAL Central.
Well, the ref had a better angle than I did on that particular foul call, but from here, it looked pretty nice. He must have got her with the other hand, a little push or something.
We mentioned Coach Ciardella on the bench. Back from 2002 to 2005, Coach Matsu was at Sacred Heart Prep, head coaching the JV girls, and he assisted with the Varsity Gators over at Sacred Heart Prep, so there's the connection. Air ball from the corner, missed 3.
And of course, his connection with Mills is he's a graduate of Mills.
It's good.
I actually remember him in his playing days, and he was a scrappy, tough-minded player.
Yeah, he did coach Mills Frost Soft for 2 years in 06 and 07. There's a nice inside move by GIBBS.
They just, I think at this point in the game, they need to get her more touches.
GIBBS now has 8 points in the game. And she comes up with that loose ball.
And they've got the 11-point lead. They don't need to be in any rush.
Matsu actually grew up in Burlingame and then graduated from Mills in 1987. There's Madison Sui, lets it fly. Rebound to GIBBS.
She's not aware of the shot clock at this point.
2 seconds on it, inside, and just before the buzzer. They can't get it to go.
But they do get the offensive board and maintain possession.
That was Melissa Yan with that last shot attempt. There's Sui with another left-hand runner, and this one rolls in.
Well, if you can't get it inside with the pass, dribble penetration can work too.
Sui with 4 points here in the second half, now has a total of 8.
Well, I think maybe that youth of Aragon is starting to show up with this pressure that Mills is putting on.
And the Vikes have opened it up to 13. Coach Matsu is a 3-year varsity player as a shooting guard, and he played for the legendary coach Bobby Thompson. Now lives in San Carlos with his wife Donna and 3 kids.
Well, I think he'd be impressed if he came back here to see what the gym looks like now.
Nice left-handed move by the freshman Horita. She gets her own rebound. There's a 3-point attempt by Miranaga. No good. Rebound, no good. Aragon having difficulty finding a hoop. They've only scored 2 points in this quarter, and we've played 5 minutes and 1 second.
Well, right now, both of Mills' leading rebounders are sitting on the bench. So they're going to have to play some good defense, screen out, and get possession of the ball.
Melissa Yan, one of the co-captains, ends up with Huffman over from the baseline. A rebound foul.
And it's on Aragon.
Matsu actually spent some time head coaching Mercy Burlingame back in 1991. And from 98 to 2003, he ran a girls AAU program in Burlingame. Nice left hand. Boy, Madison Sui really uses her left hand well, Bill.
Well, she's another one that's spent many years in an AAU program and has developed her game very well over the years. The thing that impresses me is the confidence to use the left hand. I mean, to me, all the varsity players at this level should be confident with both hands, but you just don't always see that.
The Vikings have opened up a 15-point lead here in the third quarter. Timeout. to the Vikings.
And I see a bag of ice for
we talked about Suey's left hand, Bill. There's a replay of it. She's having a nice evening so far. Now with 10 points, the first player from either team to reach double figures. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the viewers of MCTV Sports for tuning in this winter season. It's been great. We've covered boys soccer, girls and boys basketball, wrestling, and next week we'll be back on the lower field featuring the Lady Vikings soccer team. We've done more sports than ever before in our history, and we aren't done yet. Be sure to tune in this spring when MCTV Sports brings you more Mills sports, including a few games out on the diamond with softball and baseball coverage. And with the help of the Mills High School Advanced Art of Video class, we'll be bringing you something we have never done before in MCTV history, live sports. Keep tuned to MCTV for more information. Bill, boy, that would be something else if we could go live with some of these Mills sporting events.
Well, speaking of the broadening horizons of MCTV, I understand you had a wrestling match that you were broadcasting yesterday.
Yeah, actually that was last night, and it was a great wrestling match. Both the varsity and JV teams for Mills both won their contests in very impressive fashion. Had a good time. We did wrestling 2 years ago also, so that's actually the second time MCTV's done wrestling. There's Cormier along the baseline. A lot of contact. She goes down, no call. Here comes Horita, the freshman.
But you know what? The reason the ref didn't call that is the defender hands straight up. And while there was contact, most of it was initiated by Cormier. If the defender had put their hand down, they would have gotten a foul.
A good shot of hustling Barry O'Driscoll, official.
And I'm noticing that Bussinger has sat out this entire quarter, and at that last timeout, she had some ice bags, so there must be some kind of injury that she's nursing right now.
Boy, that would not be good for Mills as they head down the stretch. Although they've got themselves into great position, although they only have a one-game lead over Hillsdale. Mills is in first place of the South at 7-0. Hillsdale and Carlmont are tied for second at 6-1. Then in fourth, you have Menlo Atherton at 5-2. Cappuccino in fifth at 4-3. Burlingame in sixth, the defending champs at 3-4, struggling a bit, losing most of their team. San Mateo in seventh at 2-5. Sequoia and Aragon, who we're seeing tonight, tied for eighth. There's a two-point basket for Melissa Yan. Nice shot there. And then in 10th is Woodside, we talked about. They are 0-7.
Well, that was very nice ball movement on that last possession by Mills. They used the clock. They went inside to Julia Gibbs. She didn't have the shot, but she drew the defense, kicked it back out for the open three. And if they can do that on their possessions, it's going to be very, very difficult for Aragon to get back in this game.
Christina Garcia Rivetta is going to the free throw line for Aragon, trailing by 17 here late in the third quarter. According to Max Preps, the Mills Vikings are ranked 5th in the Central Coast Section Division III girls basketball group. That means they could get a 4, 5, or a 6 seed in the CCS, get a first round bye, get a home game. But that's later on. They're going to be focused on winning the South, and then of course the PAL County tournament comes after that, Bill.
Right, I'm sure that Coach Matsu is at this point not looking that far ahead, especially with two teams right underneath them at 6-1.
That's the nice thing about broadcasting, is we're allowed to look ahead.
Well, speaking of looking ahead, what is the playoff structure in the PAL?
Oh, Cormier's three-point attempt was blocked with the shot clock running down. She had to get it off. It still reads 3, so Mills will have another shot. I'll get to that in a second, Bill. Let's see what Coach Matsu's group does with just 3 seconds on the clock. They give it to Sui on a curl, and the left-hander just doesn't roll in that time. Nice design play, though. And MARTZ muscles the rebound. And Matsu says, you know what, let's reset it.
Well, this is where experience against inexperience is playing out. Aragon's in that man-to-man, and Mills is just being patient, using the clock.
12 on the game clock, 5 now on the shot clock. There's a difference of 5 seconds, 2 on the shot clock, 1. It's stolen, and possession is taken by Aragon. 1 second now on the game clock, and that buzzer goes off. So we have completed the third quarter. 37-20, the Vikings open it up to a 17-point lead. And if you missed any part of tonight's game, don't worry. We'll be replaying it again on MCTV, and you can also find many of these programs on demand on our brand new website. That's right. Just go to mctv.tv and check out our schedule and our video on demand pages. And if you like what you see, leave us a comment or send us a tweet. We are on Twitter at MCTV_Millbrae. That's MCTV_Millbrae. We love getting feedback, and we'd especially like to know what other programs you would like to see on MCTV. I'm Kenny Milch alongside Bill McCarthy and the Vikings here on MCTV Sports. We talked about the PAL tournament, Bill, which is coming up in late February, starting on Wednesday the 19th. The top 4 from the south and the top 4 from the north face off against each other, and we've already filled in some projected standings, although they may change. Obviously, we still have 4 more games after tonight, but as it stands now, if Mills ends up holding on to the division title, they'll get the 1 seed, and they would play a projected number 4 seed from the north, which is Half Moon Bay. The number 1 from the north is Westmore, and projected number 4 from the south, they would match up against Menlo Atherton. Hillsdale may face an El Camino, and South City would face a Carmont. Those are the projected matchups. And of course, the Final Four this year is right down the way at Cappuccino High School in their new gym they just built a few years ago. Everybody's getting a new gym around here.
Well, for some of them, it's about time. Some of these facilities have been around quite a while, and it's nice to see the upgrades.
And they're just gorgeous. 3-point attempt is good by the sophomore, Reynolds. Reynolds now with 8 points in the game. There's a steal by Reynolds. Turnover to Sui. Her 3rd of the game. 3-point attempt by Miranaga, and she knocks it home. Back-to-back trays for the Dons.
Well, maybe I spoke a little too soon. They took 6 points off that 17-point lead. It's back to an 11-point lead, where it was at halftime.
For Miranaga, she's now got 8 points in the game. Her 2nd 3 tonight. Gibbs with a left hand. It appears that the Viking girls use their left more than their right, which is pretty impressive. We mentioned rankings a while ago in Max Preps. According to the Mercury News, which came out yesterday, Mills was on the bubble and not in the top 15. But Hillsdale was at number 14. Well, the Vikings just beat those Knights 2 days ago, so those rankings will change. Look for Mills next week in the Merc to join the rankings.
Well, they got to finish off this game first, which I think they will, but they've got to hit free throws. They're going to get them. And
Gibbs just missed both those, and MARTZ just caught an elbow, and she's a little stunned as she heads back down court. Another 3-point attempt. That would have been 3 in a row. Rebound to MARTZ. So she recovered from that elbow to the jaw to get that board.
Well, you mentioned the left-handed shooting of Mills, and 2 of the players, they do play on the same AAU. They played with the same AAU program, so it's not surprising to me that they have that confidence. It's obviously in that particular program, they obviously work on their skills maybe more so than just trying to put an all-star team together for tournaments.
Coach Matsu has done a fantastic job here at Mills. Once again, his career record, 113 wins to only 69 defeats, and he's won 2 championships. They were back-to-back in 08 and 09, and even the other seasons that he didn't win the title, he's had great years. Last year they went 15-11, 9-3 in the South. They finished in 3rd. In 2012 they went 16-11, 2011 17-9. Fouled Gibbs on the ground. 2010 they were 7-3 in the Bay Division, finished 2nd to Terra Nova, 14-13 overall. On the line, Cormier, one of her feet was behind the line, the other one was in front. A 2-point, nice shot nonetheless.
Well, it was nice that she didn't try to step back to get the 3, which oftentimes throws off their shot.
Oh, bombs away tonight. Nicole Muranaga.
Well, they're not going away, Aragon.
Coach Matsu may end up having to earn his dollar tonight. Cormier steps back this time. It's short. Huffman with the putback. Nicely done by Lindsay.
And Mills has gone back to their full court press.
Well, Rita beat it nicely, but she couldn't finish the layup. And she comes from behind. Good speed by the freshman. Timeout Aragon. You know, in those 2 back-to-back years where Matsu won the championship in 08 and 09, we'll mention what happened in CCS. In the first round in 2008, they beat Los Gatos by 17, but then in the second round they lost double figures to Wilcox. And Wilcox ended up winning Division II CCS that year. They beat Mitty. In the PAL tournament in 2008, they were runner-up. They lost to MA in the championship by only 3 points. Mills has yet to win a county title under Matsu. You know, Matsu underwent a serious illness back in 2010, which was very scary for the Matsu family. He was diagnosed with diverticulitis, which is kind of an intestinal inflammation, and he was hospitalized for 14 days. He's been able to recover from that, and obviously has gotten back into coaching, and that's great news for him, his family, and also the Mills girls program, because he's quite a coach.
Well, I know when that happened, he had to take some time off from coaching, but he managed to come back and complete that season.
There's Cormier out of the timeout. Rebound to Suey.
Well, again, Mills has to be patient, use their clock.
Three seconds.
Something you don't see a heck of a lot at this level is a 3-second call, but she did have her foot in there for quite a while.
Last year in the PAL tournament, Mills lost by 2 to South City in the first round. A heartbreaker. And then in CCS, they lost a first rounder by 1 point to Valley Christian. And that CCS game was at Christopher High School in Gilroy. So last year, 15-11 overall, but they were 15-9 going into the PAL tournament and the CCS, and lost 2 heartbreakers to finish off last year's campaign. Leading by 12 here.
Well, one of the things that he's been able to do over the years, he hasn't had a whole lot of real post players. So he's had to play the best players that he has, regardless of what position you want to call them, and he's been able to be competitive, particularly on the defensive end with that matchup. Now, of course, with Julia Gibbs as a sophomore, she's a legitimate post player. Aubrey Bussinger, of course, as a freshman, has good size. So in terms of that, the future looks pretty good for having some size.
Huffman with another three-pointer for Mills. Her second of the game and only her third of the year. We mentioned earlier she was 1 of 13 from 3 going in, and she's hit 2 tonight. Good defense there by the sophomore.
Well, they don't really need threes at this point, but I might look to go to her again if she's, you know, sometimes the player starts to feel it and let them keep going.
2 years ago in the PAL tournament for Mills, they beat Hillsdale in the first round and then lost to San Mateo in the semifinals. And 2 years ago in CCS, they beat Seaside in the second round and then lost in the quarters to Santa Cruz. Huffman throws up a deep three. If she would have made that, that would have been amazing.
Well, she didn't have a choice on that one. The shot clock was winding down. That was a good 5 to 10 feet behind the three-point line. But credit Aragon, good defense, no fouling. They're picking up the pressure.
The last time Coach Matsu and Mills made it to the PAL finals, a little leaner, nice shot there by Reynolds, timeout Aragon. Last time they made it to the finals was in 2011, and they lost to Terra Nova in the championship, 62-46. In CCS, they beat Burlingame in the first round that year in 2011, 49-42. And then in the quarterfinals, they had to play Terra Nova again, and they lost by 17. They lost 4 times that year to Terra Nova in 2011.
Well, that was that Terra Nova team that had a run of about 4 years where they just dominated the county, basically dominated the PAL. They had a couple of Division I level players, and certainly when you have that as a coach, you know, that can make your job a lot easier.
They were led by Terilyn Moe, who is now playing for the University of Reno and doing quite well, I hear. In 2010 in the PAL tournament, Mills under Matsu lost to Half Moon Bay by 11 in the first round, and then in CCS they beat Palo Alto by 2 in the first round. Then they lost in the quarterfinals to Presentation.
A nice backdoor move by Madison Sui. Put up the left hand, but that time she didn't catch anything.
Inside bucket attempt, but a foul.
That's one of the things I've noticed about the PAL over the years is, for whatever reasons, there's not a whole lot of Division I talent at the schools. And certainly when you get one, it can be huge for your team. And if you can get more than one, that really makes a tremendous difference. And
they did have 2, but they ended up with 3 actually. One went to San Jose State, and the other one went to, I believe, not Indiana. I can't recall the third one. Yvonne Cook. Cook Taylor was their name. Now, number 32, who was shooting that free throw, we don't have a name on the roster for her, so we apologize. We were just checking one of the books. Did they have her down? Okay. Well, maybe that's not the official book. So we'll get our statisticians on it. Once again, thank you to Julius Adkins, who is the little brother of Marquise Atkins, who will be seeing next up in the boys game. And also Cameron Kwong is helping us out with stats. And boy, thank you to our MCTV crew, led by our producer and director, Andy Pittman, and he's being assisted by Justin Huey. Technical director, Justin Huey. On graphics is Jeff McGinnis. Andy's on replay, and our camera operators, Vicky Wu, Melissa Sabato, Gabriel Salazar, Jeremy Truong. Three-point attempt from the corner by Huffman. She's starting to let him fly at a rapid rate now. On audio, Randy Sahai. And also our engineer and assistant director is the one and only Randy Sahai. So thank you to everybody on our MCTV crew.
It's starting to get a little scrappy out here. I mean, Aragon still has a shot at it, down by 12 with a little over 2 minutes left. And again, if Mills doesn't take care of the basketball, they might just make this interesting.
Approaching the 2-minute mark.
You know, part of taking care of the basketball is your shot selection as well.
A lot of dribbling there by Sui results in a turnover. Here comes Reynolds, a sophomore, and she can't finish. Rebound to Gibbs.
Well, that was good defense by Lindsay Huffman. She just ran with her, knew she wasn't in a position to block the shot, and rather than try to attempt to pick up a possible foul on a three-point play, she let it go and distracted her just enough that she missed that layup.
The leading scorer this season for Mills has been Julia Gibbs, averaging 10.5 points a game, but right behind her is Sui at 9.8. Right behind her is Cormier at 9.4. They've been the three big guns, and they've all played well tonight, Bill. Gibbs has 8 tonight. Cormier has 6. Sui has 10. Huffman's got 8. MARTZ has 9. Yan has 2. Lee has 1. There's your scoring breakdown for the Vikings.
Well, Gibbs hasn't had as many touches as I'm sure she'd like to have, and yet still coming up with 8 points. And of course, I think Madison Sui is just a consistent player.
The last championship Mills won was a co-title in 2009. They shared it with Aragon, ironically, who they're facing tonight. Minute 30 left in the game. Their last outright title was 2008. In 2007, they shared a title with Burlingame. So 07, 08, 09, Mills was involved in the championship all 3 of those years. Before that, just one other championship for the Vikings. 2005, they shared it with Aragon. So this would be, if Mills holds on, their 5th league championship in school history. And it would be the 4th for Matsu. Check that, the 3rd. The 3rd for Matsu. Excuse me.
Taylor Cormier just took a little spill there, going after the loose ball, and ended up getting called for walking. I'm not sure that she ever really had control of the ball, but that's what the referee saw.
Foul on the drive. Hey, you know what's interesting, Bill? You talked about Gibbs only being a sophomore. Well, the future still looks bright for Coach Matsu. Earlier tonight, the girls' Frosh Soft beat Aragon 36-26. Hey, the Lady Vikings Frosh Soft record, they're undefeated also, 7-0. And after tonight's win, now they move to 8-0.
Well, that's definitely a good sign. They've got a number of seniors on this year's team, so there'll be quite a few spots available for next year's varsity.
That's right, MARTZ is a senior, Lee's a senior, Huffman's a senior, Yan, Sui are both seniors, as well as Cormier. 1 minute left, and the Vikings are up by 12. They won by 15 the last time these two met. When all is said and done, the W is what counts, right, Bill?
Yeah, they can be ugly or they can be pretty, but it's still a win. And there's been moments where Mills has looked very good, and there's been moments where they haven't.
Last year, the Sui sisters, Brianna was a first-team All-Leaguer, Madison was a second-teamer, and Kristen Laskowska was named honorable mention last year for the South Division as MARTZ nails that free throw. And she misses the next one. Here comes Aragon. Elsewhere tonight in the PAL South, Hillsdale's at San Mateo, Burlingame's at Cap. There's a nice running bucket, timeout Aragon. Woodside's at Carlmont, and Menlo Atherton is at Sequoia. The game to watch, of course, is Hillsdale. That's, well, Hillsdale and Carlmont, that's who kind of Mills has one of their eyes on as this PAL South Division title hunt plays out.
Just mentioned the two Sui sisters, and just to show the basketball talent in that family with the two girls, is they both, I believe, 4-year varsity players. I know for sure Brianna was. I'm not sure about Madison, but I know Madison was a 3-year, if not on the team since her freshman year.
You know, this past Wednesday in that big undefeated showdown where Mills beat Hillsdale by 639-33, that wasn't one of the prettiest games also, but once again, the final result was what counted, and Coach Matsu and his girls have kind of found a way to get things done, especially when it's close and when the pressure's been on, and they've survived the heat.
Well, and they're surviving it with one of their players, Stephanie Mars, played in just about all their games except after the injury. And tonight now with Aubrey Bussinger not playing in the second half, that they can continue on with key players on their team not being able to get playing time.
35 seconds left to go, and with the victory, the Mills Vikings are going to move to 8-0 in the PAL South Division, still alone and undefeated in first place, and they'll move to 14-7 overall. And a nice shot and the foul by the sophomore Reynolds. GIBBS picks up the foul, but that was a nice move there.
Well, when you attack the basket, good things are usually going to happen. You're forcing the defense sometimes in a bad position, and there Julia got caught up a little bit, had her hand just up a little bit, and it's one of those post players hate to have that foul called on them, but by the rules it is a foul.
Free throw is missed. Huffman is fouled on the rebound. Boy, she's really strong. Being a senior also, she knows how to protect it, and those young girls were trying to reach in on her, and she wasn't giving that one up.
That is her third double bonus situation.
Huffman once again with 8 points on the night, 2 3-pointers, but she's 0 for 2 from the free throw line. Aragon with this loss is going to drop to 1-7 in the South Division, 3-12 overall, and once again, they're pretty young, and Coach Gennaro knows that there's going to be better seasons ahead on the horizon for her Aragon Dons. Reynolds once again, she's filling it up. Timeout Dons. Let's check the statistics for Reynolds. She's got 14 points. She leads all scorers. Muranaga for Aragon has 11. Horita with 4. Mangoin with 2. Oris with 4. Leading rebounder for Aragon is Ravetta. She's got 5 boards. Also, Oris has 5 rebounds. And with 4 boards is Horita, the freshman.
Well, I don't think Reynolds in particular has paid a whole lot of attention to the scoreboard. She's playing like this is a 1-point game.
Cormier has not had a big night scoring, but she has dished out 5 assists, which is pretty impressive.
Well, and in addition to that, her and Madison Suey have been the 2 primary ball handlers, especially when they built up that lead to take their time on offense and just make it more difficult for Aragon to close the gap.
Both MARTZ and GIBBS have 4 rebounds each. As well, Huffman has 4 also. And Suey has 4 also. So a very balanced rebounding attack, balanced scoring. It's, you know, that's kind of been the way this group has gone. We mentioned the top scorers for the team, 10 points, 9 points, 9 points. It's really a good balance that Coach Matsu has with this Viking squad.
Well, and for the teams I've observed over the years, that's kind of the way it's been. Very unselfish. That's the way he coaches, obviously, to share the ball. You know, anybody on any given night can be the one that gets the points, but everybody contributes in some way.
There's Reynolds. Loose ball, just under 5 seconds left. And up next, things don't get much easier for Mills as they take on Carlmont, who's just 1 game behind the Vikings, and that's at Carlmont. That's going to be a real tough one come next Wednesday. 3-point last attempt did not fall. Final score 46-38. So the Vikings improved once again to 8-0 in league. They did it not in the prettiest fashion, but once again they got it done. Phil, your thoughts on the game?
Well, like you said, it was kind of a bit of an up and down game. I'm impressed with how Aragon kept fighting. But I'm impressed with Mills' balance. When they got up to that, built up that big lead, they were moving the ball, they were looking to go inside, kicking the ball back outside for their threes. They've got a couple of 3-point shooters, and they do play pretty good defense as long as they're not turning the ball over and having to play defense more than they really need to.
Leading scorer for Aragon with 14 points was Brianna Reynolds, and the top scorers for Mills with 10 points each were MARTZ and Madison Suey. So once again, the final score 46-38. The Mills Vikings with the win. Coming up next is the boys, the 4th and final game of this wonderful quad evening here on the campus of Mills High School. For Bill McCarthy and our entire MCTV crew, I'm Kenny Milch, inviting you to stick with us. The boys are up next.